PPP Loan Forgiveness Introduction and Frequently Asked Questions. Here is a quick disclaimer. So we're going to be looking at how much of the loan will be forgiven, what is a covered period or alternative payroll covered period, eligible non-payroll costs, how can I request loan forgiveness, average full-time equivalent employees, PPP loan forgiveness, is it taxable or not? How much will be forgiven? So you could get 100% of the loan forgiven provided you use at least 75% of the loan towards payroll and not more than 25% of the loan towards non-payroll costs. Forgiveness amount will also be reduced if you do not maintain your staff and payroll at levels prior to the COVID-19 period. So what's a covered period? The 8-week covered period of your PPP loan begins on the same date that you received the PPP loan. Alternative payroll covered period. For administrative convenience, borrowers with bi-weekly payroll schedule or more frequent than bi-week may elect to calculate eligible payroll costs using an 8-week period that begins on the first day of the first pay period following the PPP loan receipt. So we're going to be looking at an example here for the alternative payroll covered period. If the borrower received its PPP loan proceeds on Monday, April 20th, and the first day of its first pay period following its PPP loan disbursement is Sunday, April 26th, the first day of the alternative payroll covered period is April 26th, and the last day of the period is June 20th. So it's the first day of the first pay period begin following the receipt of the loan. So when we do the 3508 application for the forgiveness, so if you see covered or alternative, then you could use either of those based on what you have considered. If you see covered period on the application, so you should just use the covered period. So the non-payroll costs are for covered period only, and you could not use alternative payroll covered period for non-payroll costs like mortgage interest, rents, utilities. Payroll costs could be used with the alternative payroll covered period provided they are bi-weekly or more frequent payroll employers. So what are eligible non-payroll costs? So it could be mortgage interest, rents, utility payments, and all these have to be at the same level as it was incurred before February 15, 2020. So you cannot have any new rent obligations or any new mortgage interest payments which is not as it was before February 15, 2020. Also, the non-payroll cost must be paid during the covered period or incurred during the covered period. It could be paid in the following billing cycle, but it has to be for the expenses incurred during the covered period, which is the 56 days or the 8 weeks period from the date the loan was received. So how do you request for the loan forgiveness? You fill in the form 3508 and submit it through your lender through whom you received the loan. Now you'd also have to submit other documents to show the employee payments made, the count of the employees, likewise for non-payroll costs, your mortgage interest obligations, lease payments, utilities, all those documents have to be provided along with the loan application form 3508. The lender will make a decision within 60 days. So how do we calculate the full-time equivalent employees? So we need to take the hours divided by 40 for each employee to see if it is one or more. So if it is one, which means they have done the 40 hours and they are a full-time employee. If it is more than 40 hours, you would still consider them as just one full-time equivalent employee. Now there is an alternative way of doing it. For every employee who has worked for more than 40 hours, you could take it as one employee, and who has worked less than 40 hours, you could take as 0.5 or half employee for this FTE calculation purpose. Now this calculation is important because your loan forgiveness amount could be reduced based on the number of full-time employees you had before before the covered period versus the number of employees you had during the covered period. So is the PPP loan forgiveness taxable? So it's not subject to federal taxes. We are expecting state and local tax authorities would follow the federal guidelines as well. We are waiting for the guidance. Now, IRS have mentioned that we could not take this as a deduction on your tax return. So the expenses which was considered towards the forgiveness cannot be again taken as a deduction on your tax return, and this is for it to be more of a tax neutral. However, Congress is working on making it as a deductible expense, and we are yet to hear from them. Thank you, and if you could like us on Facebook, subscribe on our YouTube channel, follow us on LinkedIn, and also join our mailing list, nexusbpm.com. Thank you.